If you have the Samsung refrigerator freeze-up issue, here's my easy defrost method to help make your life easier. The best way to fix the problem is by putting in a drain heater. I've included the links below. The first one shows you how to install the heater, and the second shows how to take off the back panel. Thanks to these guys for their videos, much appreciated. I'd also suggest doing the copper coil trick to help keep the drain open. But the problem is, you still have to get the cover off, and you can't do that while it's frozen. Believe me, I tried and I damaged the panel, which is why I've also included a link to buy a new one. Now I could try to find a place to put all the food while I let the fridge sit off overnight, but I don't have another fridge. There is a manual defrost method, but it's not going to be enough to melt the ice and dry out the area. I suppose maybe if you did it repeatedly for hours, but after 5 consecutive cycles I gave up. However, if you'd like to try a manual defrost, here's what to do. Hold down the energy saver and the fridge buttons at exactly the same time and hold for about 10 seconds. Now if you turn on power cool by mistake, just hold the fridge button for a few seconds to turn that off and start over. If you do it right, you'll hear a beep, all the indicator lights will go off. Let go, and then each time you tap the fridge button, it'll cycle through some options. You want the one called RD for refrigerator defrost. If you go past it, just keep tapping, it'll come back around. And you'll start to hear regular beeping. Now, unfortunately, you can't shut off the beep sound, so you'll just have to listen to this during the whole cycle, which is, I think, about 20 minutes. Now, at the end of the cycle, the beeping will stop and the fridge will automatically return to normal operation after a few minutes. To shut off the fridge, follow these same steps, but choose of R. To later turn the fridge back on, do the same steps again, but this time choose the blank screen. Now the fridge will not restart immediately. There is a delay of a few minutes. You could try to stand there with a handheld blow dryer, but that's a pain in the ass. Plus you're going to need to make sure the entire panel is dry. If you've already got ice coming out of the holes, it's going to be waterlogged. First, here's a little illustration of how the air flows so you'll know why my workaround is how it is. Warmer air is pulled into the back through this top vent area. Then cooler air is blown out into the food compartment through these 6 holes. Here's a view from the inside. The air flows in and down a styrofoam lined channel that guides the air up over the cooling fins, through the fan, and out the exit holes into the food compartment. And this is why you have to be careful not to damage this styrofoam if you remove the panel. I bought a bonnet style blow dryer because it had an air hose. There's a link below for this one and a similar model from Amazon. Now first, I used the control panel to turn off the fridge as I explained earlier. I could have also just unplugged it, but I wanted to keep the interior lights on. And the best part is I didn't even have to take out the food. I did temporarily move some of the more perishable things to the freezer compartment because I wasn't sure how warm it was going to get. I put the hairdryer on the top shelf and I duct taped the nozzle so it was centered over the top right output hole. This hole is closest to where the ice problem is. I then taped over the top left hole to keep the heat in the back. I didn't bother with the 4 lower holes because heat rises, or so I've been told. By the way, I'm sure that Conair does not recommend or approve of this misuse of their product, and you should not do this because it might be unsafe for you. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I did. I plugged the hairdryer into a GFCI outlet and I turned it on to the medium setting. And then I shut the doors and I left it there for an hour and a half. And I checked on it frequently to make sure the hose hadn't fallen down, which it did once. More duct tape to the rescue. And maybe I didn't need to let it run that long. Maybe I should have put it on high. I don't know. I was just pulling this out of my non-rocket scientist ass. Next time I think I'll try just an hour. And I kept checking the temperature and, surprisingly, because the doors stayed closed, it only dropped 1 degree during this whole time. How do I know it worked? Well, there was a ton of water under the bottom drawer that wasn't there before. And I soaked it all up with bath towels and the duct tape came off pretty easily. I used the control panel to turn the fridge back on. Now it takes a few minutes before you'll hear the compressor kick in again. The biggest problem I had was keeping the hose taped to the vent hole. So since then I've made a support using a coat hanger that I think will help next time. And finally, I confirmed that the fan was working freely again. You can listen for it. It starts a few seconds after you close the doors. Or you can trigger it manually. You'll need a strong magnet, and ironically something stronger than a refrigerator magnet. Place the magnet on top of the left side of the fridge where you see a little arrow. You'll know when you get it right because the interior light will go out. Then next, hold in the plunger switch at the top of the left door. In about 5 seconds, you should hear the fan. If so, congratulations, you've survived another day with your Samsung refrigerator. I hope this helped. On a final note, the lawsuit against Samsung that you may have come across is not about this problem. It's about the ice maker that keeps freezing up, but that's another Samsung story.